Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. This is the Texas Longhorn Bleacher Report post-game show. Texas just getting hammered in the fourth quarter. Season on the line, 35-10 overall in Athens to the Georgia Bulldogs. Kirby Smart masterclass. I'm going to start there and give credit to the victors, give credit to the Georgia Bulldogs on another successful, dominant season in the SEC, finishing 7-1 on their side as they, wrap up their year with a tune-up game and then the Georgia Tech game. But on the Texas side, knowing what we needed coming into this game with the results of Alabama losing at home to OU, probably, the whole 9-3, what's going on there? That whole thing went just out the window before the game. I think we all were in that collective space of really truly control our own destiny. We know it's not a 0% chance, but as you guys saw on the broadcast, 76% chance to make the playoffs if you win tonight, 27% chance to make the playoffs if you lose, right? You're going to need a lot of help. And one of the things that will hurt is I'm more outcome focused. I know people will look at this game from an eye test perspective and say, well, Texas was competitive for 3 quarters in there. Going into the fourth quarter was 14-10. Texas had just scored a touchdown. Ryan Wingo. They fought all night, battled back. We had a great opening script, great opening drive, which was unfortunately halted by Wingo's drop, but we battled back, got the touchdown, and Kirby Smart showed you there's levels to this. He showed you there was levels to this in both matchups last year versus Texas. He went to a Super Saiyan level today. Okay, because what you saw, and we will talk about all the stuff here, but one of the things you saw was a coaching masterclass. The moment Texas scored that touchdown and made it 14-10, Kirby Smart decided to take the game to a whole nother level. We knew, and I've talked about this in our pregame on this channel, on my channel, on YouTube, on Bleacher Report, all over the place. We've talked about moments. In big game, it comes down to certain moments. Certain drives matter more than others. And at that point, once Kirby kind of felt that Texas was starting to get on Georgia's bumper, they come out and do what? They go for it not once, but twice on fourth down on their own side of the field. And they did not hesitate. They were lining up after their third down call once they were short and immediately going for it. That's coaching. They knew at that point, we're going to go win. We are going to be aggressive-minded. We are taking this into our own hands as an offense led by Gunnar Stockton, and we're going to go seize this game. So they go for it. They convert on the 4th and 1. They convert on the 4th and 5. And going into, we get the situation where, there's the change of the quarter. They get coverage. We have a coverage bust again. And this time it features our All-American safety who's back, Michael Taft. So for all of you, I kept telling y'all, this Texas secondary it's much bigger than one person. It's much bigger than this person coming in to plug this hole or fill this problem. We give free release to London Humphreys. Boom, Georgia goes up immediately to start the quarter 21-10. But this is where Kirby Smart decided to go yet to another level on y'all. Onside kick. I have never seen the Texas sideline so in shock. Jeff Banks still doesn't know what happened. Absolute, where did that come from? What the hell just happened? They go onside kick. Keep in mind, this sequence of events happens so quickly that the Texas defense is now completely gassed. They've had zero time to make adjustments to fix the emotional we gotta have it drive that the Georgia offense just went on. And now Kirby Smart with that decision. And for those, if you ever hear anybody say they don't believe in momentum in sports, go show them this game, go show them that sequence. Because Georgia gets on and now it's full go. They get in the end zone. Now it's 28-10. The whole football game has been blown open. Georgia's up 3 scores. They're rolling. It's over. Just like that. Just like the SEC championship game when these guys run a fake punt or these guys come out on offense and make all of the right adjustments with Gunnar Stockton, a young, inexperienced Gunnar Stockton at the time. They make all the right adjustments then. The levels of difference in coaching has to be studied. Now, were there some good moments from Texas? Did the Texas kids fight as hard as they could for as long as they could? Absolutely, I give them credit. I know how difficult it is on the road. It's very difficult on the road, especially against a Georgia offense as dangerous as this one with as many weapons as this one. We talked about so many different players, and we talked about Lawson Lucky. He got a touchdown. We talked about London Humphreys. He got a touchdown. We talked about Zachariah Branch. He was huge both in the receiving game as well as the return game. We talked about the end arounds with Dylan Bell. Damn it, they did those. We talked about Noah Thomas in his 6'6" frame. He caught the first 2 touchdowns. This is why Georgia's a national championship contender, just off that offense alone. And their defense, again, is not bad. Their defense is not bad. Just because they don't get the same type of heat and organic pressure, they still cover well. They still rally and tackle well. They're still a physical bunch, and they got momentum. Look, this Texas offense, which had been playing well, and look, a lot of it was self-inflicted with the drops. A lot of the Texas stuff, we had beaters all night. Look, Arch Manning threw for 251 tonight. Not a bad night. He had some misses. Yes, he threw a pick, but he was let down by his receiving corps. Arch was severely let down by his receiving corps. It was very disappointing. Let me push some polls here. Where do we end up, y'all? What a day. Because, I know we were all watching the Texas A&M game and feeling some type of way, and they're down 30-3, and, then we go to the Alabama OU game, and it looks like, Bama might take, then OU pulls that out, and our game happens, and it's crazy because you just it was just an emotional day for Texas fans. An emotional day for Texas fans. And it sucks because we've back-to-back playoff seasons, nothing to show for it in terms of a national championship. Yeah, some top 3 finishes, some great seasons overall, a lot of draft picks. Is the window closed? And I don't have this as a question, but not closed per se, but did we miss our window? Because is it too early to start looking at next season? I know this season's not over. We have 2 major rivalry games coming up and potentially 11-0 game versus A&M, which either will be playing to spoil their undefeated season and for bragging rights, or, maybe we backdoor in the playoffs if we get some help and some people fall off that aren't expected to fall off. But I am thinking about next season because I'm thinking about Arch Manning, his progression, his development, maximizing on quarterback play and getting him into that elite level. I'm just saying, and it's crazy because watching Gunnar Stockton in this Georgia offense, it's like, damn. And I know Arch had a chance to potentially play for Georgia. He came and picked us. He picked Sark. But watching Mike Bobo in that Georgia offense when they needed it, when they decided to get aggressive, man, that's back-to-back games, I think, now with Gunnar Stockton having 5 touchdowns and just the weapons that they now have in that group. They went, and this is something that we will talk about all offseason. This 2025 Texas group, did they do enough to maximize this roster, because we know Georgia coming off of last year. I always use Ohio State as the example, winning the national championship and going and getting a Quinshon Judkins, going and getting a Downs, right? These elite players to just fill in on a roster that was already loaded, but getting greedy. Georgia, was looking to solve a problem, right? They led the country in drops last year. Dylan Bell was essentially their wide receiver one last year. He's now using more of a Deebo Samuel role. They went out and got a Zachariah Branch. They went out and got a Noah Thomas. They have young stud tight ends, a whole group: Elias Williams, Lawson Lucky, Oscar Dell. Like, you got Lad McConkey 2.0 over there in Humphreys. I don't know how you stop all those guys. And I didn't know you. And then on top of that, they can run the football when they want to. So it's a tough task. I give PK in the Texas front seven, some credit. I'll push this one out here in terms of what did Texas do well tonight, or what stood out for Texas tonight. I thought the front seven on defense fought as long as they could. I know the numbers aren't going to be favorable, the net stats or the team stats, but they did as, Georgia comes out and they score back their first two drives, right? 14-3. We hold that until the half. We hold that until not even just the half, but until the fourth quarter, right? It's still 14-10 until the we gotta have it drive. Until we need to do boom, boom, boom. You guys are talking about the penalties here in terms of Texas. That is a big, big issue for this Texas team that we did talk about a little bit pregame, at least on my channel on YouTube, Fanatic Perspective. But we should have put more emphasis on the penalty issues that Texas does have. Look, we can bitch and moan about what Georgia did or did not get called for, but I know Texas has been a heavily penalized team all season. This is not new. As a matter of fact, coming in, and we said this on our channel, we laughed about it. I tweeted this during the game. We talked about Texas is 129th in penalties in the country. 129th in penalties in the country. That is coaching. That is coaching. Whether it's a technique issue, whether it's with the staff across the board. And to me, it's not like one group is getting all the penalties. Can we keep it a buck? All three units got penalties. We had multiple penalties on the special teams today, procedural penalties, whether we were receiving the ball or we were kicking the ball, we got a penalty. We got a freaking penalty. Big ass return that Ryan Niblick gets. We get called holding. And sometimes it's the usual suspects. If you know, you know. Offense. They're clear as day, guys. They're clear as day. Yes, again, we can talk about the ones that weren't called on Georgia. There were some. Colin Simmons was getting wrapped up around his neck. There's times where Trey Moore was getting pulled, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, sure. But more times than not, ours are obvious. Ours are blatantly obvious, okay? So this isn't about, to me, a fair whistle or Kirby has the refs in his pockets, blah, blah, blah. I ain't going there. Nah. Not especially the manner in which this game flipped so quickly once he decided to turn the heat up. Kirby said, I'm tired of being humble for you jokers. Let's get up out of here. I'm turning the heat up. And it's always when you got to have it. Defensively, it's funny. My buddy Marlon, and Marlon, I'll see you on the YouTube side as well. So shout out to you, Marlon. We were texting. And as soon as Ryan Wingo scored that touchdown, and it's 14-10, Marlon texted me and said, the moments matter. And this moment here, this drive coming up here is the most important drive of the season, Steve, because Kirby is going to do whatever it takes to get points right now. He will not punt on this drive. This is the desperation drive. This is the drive that happened when we cut the lead in Austin last year from 23-0 to 23-15. And we were on it, Georgia was on third down and inside our own 10 about to get the ball back. And they had to have it. And every single time Kirby had to have it, he got it. And when I say Kirby, I'm talking about him and that whole coaching staff. Glenn Schumann, Mike Bobo, all of the sharp, astute, reputable coaches over there for the Georgia Bulldogs. When they needed it, they got it. And they had stuff prepared for different situations. One of the things, what was our theme of the week this week here on Bleacher Report? It was 2 words: be prepared. I probably should have said expect the unexpected when it comes to Kirby Smart and Steve Sarkisian trying to navigate this. And look, Steve is a very good coach. He has done an exceptional job here at Texas. I am proud that he's our head coach. I know a lot of people it's easy to throw blame in the tough times during a loss. I get all that. But we are at a disadvantage, and it's starting to remind me of the Mac Brown, Bob Stoops days for a period of time, where it was just like, man, you and your staff are behind that other guy and his staff. Something's not adding up here. But right now, Kirby just is able to summon something in the most unexpected moment. But then it's like, man, this isn't the most unexpected. This is the moment where it's like he's trying to get margin and trying to end this thing. And damn it, they did that tonight in Athens. So I got to give him credit. Here's the thing. AJ said, all I know is we need to drop the bag this offseason for players and coaches. I do think there will be coaching turnover. I do think there will be some turnover on the staff. I do think that I'm now in terms of PK's not going anywhere. Excuse me. Sark's obviously not going anywhere. But I think beyond that, when you look at certain position groups in the underperformance, when you look at certain position groups in the level of investment of the players or lack of development or lack of production, however you want to say it, I do think there's going to be some potential upgrades that may need to be made, or some guys that need to move on. Maybe you try to push some people into some opportunities on other teams this year. But I think some things are going to change. I do. They showed it during the game, guys. This is the worst Steve Sarkisian offense since 2012 Washington that he coached. And in this is by far his worst running game he's ever had. We've just now gotten to our best lineup of offensive linemen, and they were okay today. They held up as long as they could. Now, too many penalties for them, not enough run lanes. They were okay. They weren't bad. I think it would have been a lot worse if we had played some of the other guys who were playing earlier in the season before Connor Robertson went to center and Cole Hudson went to left guard. I do think it would have been worse. However, it's a common, we are complimentary bad with certain things. People talk about playing complimentary football, and a good example of that for Texas is Anthony Hill getting an interception on Gunnar Stockton, making an amazing play down there in coverage, kind of up the seam a little bit, and then Texas offense coming back and scoring, right? Getting aggressive. That's complimentary football. But too many times we will compound a bad play with an even worse play, right? We'll have a negative play or -2, but then that turns into the next play a holding call, which now, it's 3rd and 20 or 3rd and 13. And these things start to compound on themselves. And now we start to scrutinize play calling. And it's like, hey, what's going on? Sark had some very questionable play calls today. We run a quarterback draw or something on 3rd and 13. I don't get that. We were running, various end arounds against a Georgia defense that's pretty good, east to west. Don't get that. Like some of the screen stuff they had and some of the tunnel screen stuff, but the screen stuff has to be more downfield. It can't be more east west. Too much east west. But I think there's a difference between critical of Sark in a particular game or even for particular stretches, but having him in mind with the solution versus just being completely out on him overall. Now, I will ask you guys this. Watching this game tonight, on both sides of the ball, I feel like we are slow in our skill positions. I just don't, and maybe this is just me. I mean, Ryan Wingo clearly stands out athletically. I think he stands out even when you're watching him play against Georgia. Emmett Mosley made some plays. Like, I'm not saying our guys weren't productive, but I'm just saying in terms of just raw athleticism, speed, like Noah Thomas is running that little whip around the end zone. He's 6'6", and he's getting down, flipping his hips, and getting separation on a young but promising corner, Cade Phillips. Like, Zachariah Branch is running in circles on our secondary. It just seemed that Georgia was more explosive. Is that conditioning, right? Was Georgia more conditioned and they were just able to, outlast us at a certain point? I don't know what it is. But frustrating nonetheless, right? These last few minutes, we'll go through the stats, but I have the polls up here. What stood out to you guys? What record will we finish with? Let's push this one real quick. People still hoping for 9-3, which means we went out against Arkansas and Texas A&M at home. This was our last road game of the season. Here's another fun stat. Texas in no road game ever finished ahead after 4 quarters. Not in a single road game. Stats like that, man, when it comes to nitpicking playoff teams, that's not going to go well for Texas. It's not. Especially trying to, if at best 9-3, trying to get a potential at-large bid or whatever, like stats like that aren't going to go well. Your only overtime success or your only road success were in overtime. You never beat anybody in regulation on the road, ever. And I think that's why I was reluctant, and I did not pick Texas to win this game. I picked Georgia to win this game for anybody watching objectively out there. I did not see this type of separation happening. I thought it was going to be a very close game. I thought it was going to be a lot like the game we saw for much of the third quarter. That's what I thought. And even our first drive and their first, I thought it was going to be more of an offensive game, but I did not see that fourth quarter coming. And that's with us having a terrible habit of taking time off in games. When I say taking time off, I mean where things just aren't connecting and it seems like we're asleep. Like, Texas does not play, and this is a theme of 2025, unfortunately, we're not a 60-minute football team, and we haven't been all year. We really, really struggle to play consistent ball. And, I mean, some of it seems effort, too. Like, it just seems that they have ebbs and flows. It seems like they don't understand the complementary aspect as well as other units of the past. So you end up with situations where we can be lopsided in these games, and a really good defense is all of a sudden super gassed and able to be cut up all over the place. So I do wonder, those kids are mentally tough in that locker room. I'll give you that. They are mentally tough. They're sticking with it, because some of the stuff that has been persistent all year in terms of issues that some fans choose to ignore, we don't. Not at FP. We see it. We call it out. If you see something, say something. But Yeah, I mean, it's been the consistency has just been ass, to say the least. 2025, we had the number one recruiting class. So where is it? Um, Hopefully they're playing in 2026. I mean, it's not a lot of guys out there that are young boys that are part of that rotation out after Grayson Littleton. I mean, Phillips was out there today. Um, I don't know how many of the young linemen I saw, or if I saw like Justice Terry or anybody like that. I'm not sure, but I had to go back and watch the film. But yeah, shoot, we lost Jared Gibson before the that transfer portal period, or before the 4 games or whatever that he had to have not played, or maximum 4 games, I should say. We lost him to the transfer portal, and we were told that we would see guys like James Simon. We were told that Michael Terry had moved into the running back room. Where the hell are these guys? And that's no slight to Trey Wisner, who didn't have a bad game today. 9 carries, 37 yards, 4.1 yards. I mean, ran hard. I didn't like his run when he ran backwards for a bunch of yards. I thought that was bad, but ran hard. Baxter picked up one run. And I know the recipe for beating Georgia isn't just to try to sit there and establish the run and bang your head up against the wall, but it would be nice to see these guys place at some point. Doesn't maybe even need to be Georgia. Like, where are these guys? You know? So um just addressing the freshman stuff, because sometimes those guys can give you new energy, playmakers. We've seen them elevate teams late in the season. Some freshman or somebody, comes along and uh, becomes a star overnight, seemingly. How do you guys feel about Jack injuries? Um, it, we've had some drop off here in tight end performance. So I don't even think that's a secret. Jordan Washington had a very nasty drop. His drop was like, yo, I'm like, are y'all in the gambling thing too? Like, what the hell's going on? Like, it was at that point where I'm like, what is going on? But even Jack injuries, like, he hasn't been a difference maker. I thought we started out the season kind of using him more and being a little bit more excited about him. But I mean, 3 catches, 9 yards, and that's kind of been what Jack injuries has been recently. Evan Mosley's the guy that's breaking out. Wingo I thought, had a really good second half, very good second half. I mean, if he can play like that every week, the sky's the limit. But that's not the Ryan Wingo we always see. And we know the issues he's had with drops. A lot of these drops are, not even like running down the field 50 yards and trying to track a ball or anything like that. Like, we're just talking about like basic, let me flip something over to you. I don't know. I don't know. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. I'm in a place mentally where, it's late and I'm tired, and you have all this gas all day, you're excited, and then you realize, oh crap, this game matters so much more than we knew it mattered, but now it's like, oh man, our season's probably on the line right now. And to respond like this is sad. It's sad. Individual performances, some guys put on some, we'll look at defense real quick and then slide out of here. But um tough night. Tough night for the Texas Longhorns. Anthony Smith, good job. I'm curious to see how he grades out. Anthony Hill, obviously, with the interception. Um, Michael Taft had some good plays, but definitely want to hear what exactly happened on that London Humphreys touchdown where he's wide open, and it's like a repeat of like the Eli Stowers Vanderbilt situation all over again. Yet that involved Jalen Gilbo and Derek Williams, and now it's Michael Taft and I believe Jalen Gilbo again. Like, what is going on? And why do we have 2 people running with one guy on the on the sidelines essentially, and we have a guy wide open up the seam? in the middle of the field. Is that what we're on? Are we not seeing and recognizing personnel, guys? Justice Terry, 4 tackles and a tackle for loss. So he did. So there's some 2025 guys in there, right? Grayson Littleton, he had a couple tackles where he was getting active. Colin Simmons got another sack. So what's his sack total up to now? Curious about that. But yeah, I mean, this was tough. It's a tough loss for Texas. Probably, potentially a season-ending loss, depending on how you look at things. I expect this team to compete very hard the next 2 weeks and try to land control their destiny, considering playing a really bad opponent next week in Arkansas, but dangerous rivalry game, and then the opportunity and the matchup that is there against Texas A&M. Which tonight's performance or lack thereof does not skew my opinion of how I think we will approach A&M when they come to Austin. But right now, I mean, the dream of even getting into the playoffs is teetering. It's teetering. And I'll push the polls one more time just so we can excuse me. Let me stop sharing. Let's see if there's the third down. I know the third downs was nasty. Let me get to that real quick. I forgot what it was. I know at halftime we were 0 for 6 on third down. But yeah, I mean, this is not good enough. 23 rushing yards. Arch was sacked a bunch of times, so it factors into that, but that's still probably 50, somewhere between 50 and 60 yards we had total. If you don't count the sack yardage, like, it's just not good enough. That is not going to get it done. Not at all. Plays were pretty even. Penalties, 9 penalties for Texas, 1 for Georgia. Oh, wow. That is a little sketch, but we are a heavily penalized team. I do know that. Thanks, CT Sports, for letting us know that one, right? Anyway, sucks I got to do this post game. My favorite team getting their ass whooped like this, but it is what it is. I got to be honest. Got to keep it a buck. You can't grow if you're not honest. Right now, there's a reason why Kirby Smart's won those national championships. There's a reason why he's won the SEC as much as he had. There's a reason why he recruits the way that he does, and ultimately gets his message across to the other kids is the way he does. So it was a masterclass performance by him, his staff, his kids, the offense, the offensive line, the defensive line. I mean, they were just on point. And I tip my cap. But how do we finish the season? How do we finish the season if you're Texas? How do we bounce back from this? Definitely loved Arch's toughness. Definitely loved the fight of a lot of guys, and understanding the context of how 14-10 balloons to 35-10. Right? I mean, that's tough, but I do think a lot of that does fall more at the legs of the coaches than it does, the will of the players. But yep, you can find me, Steve, here on Bleacher Report. Hit my thing, follow me. We'll be back as I watch a little bit more and study this particular game with some feedback and more comments on Monday. My channel, we're getting ready to do therapy session over there. So if you want to just come and rap and vibe and kind of go through some messages and similar to this on the chat, come over and find me on YouTube at Fanatic Perspective. Appreciate you guys. Remember, horns always up. Welcome.